All right. Hi, everybody. This is another episode of Tops, Titans of Publishing Show. I'm here with Marc Harty. Say
Hello.
hello. And today,
You.
today we want to wish you in advance a happy and safe 4th of July holiday. I know a lot of people may be taking Monday off. So you're getting, and maybe you're already starting, who knows? So you're going to get a 4 or 5 day weekend. Good for you. That's how it should work. We have this whole thing backwards. We should work we should work 2 days a week and get off 5 days a week. That's
Well,
that's
we
my
should
plan
go
when I'm
the
president.
the European system. I mean, isn't it like they don't even work a 40-hour week? I think they only work like 30 or 35 hours.
It's like 33 or 35 or something.
Yeah.
But they're on the metric system.
And
They count different.
and they get 4 weeks vacation from year one.
There you go.
Not two.
And they probably get maternity and paternity leave even if they don't have children.
And much better health insurance.
And here we go. We're going to lose everybody if
I
anybody's
know. Let's pivot to marketing.
and we don't have an embarrassment for a leader. Anyway, move on.
Moving on.
So today we wanted to talk about some under the radar websites that you as a publisher, you as an online publisher, could use to leverage those sites' rankings, traffic, audience, authority, that kind of thing, and use it for your own benefit, and still benefit the other website. So today we wanted to talk about 3 websites in particular, and I want to preface this by saying these aren't really completely under the radar. Most people know what these sites are, but many people don't use them in the way that we're going to describe. So the first site, or in no particular order, is Quora, and then we're going to talk about Medium, and we're also going to talk about SlideShare. So Marc, I'll let you decide which one we want to tackle first, and we'll just dive right in.
Okay, well, let's keep it simple. Let's do it in the order that you presented them. So let's talk about Quora, and it's Quora, Quora. And the first place to start with is, what are you publishing? And what you're, it's what you're actually publishing is answers. Because what you want to use Quora for is you want to position yourself as an expert. What is your area? It could be what you're doing for a living, business-wise. It could be a passion project that you have a lot of knowledge about. And I know, Bill, you have some real practical experience with the Quora. I'll just say this quickly and then hand it over to you. I am always amazed at the high-level quality people that are on Quora answering questions. I mean, you have literally C-suite executives of major publicly traded companies or startups taking the time to answer questions. So my question to you is, if they're doing it, maybe you should be doing it too, right? So, and I know, Bill, you have used it probably more so than I have to answer questions. So I'd love to hear your experience about Quora.
So the first thing I want to say about Quora is it's a better, more relevant, and much more current version of Yahoo Answers. So back in the day, people used Yahoo Answers as not only a way to ask questions and get answers, but to actually provide answers. And a lot of publishers used it to build authority and to get traffic back to their site. And that's kind of the key. There are SEO benefits as well, but they're not as good as they used to be. In that, to my knowledge, and I haven't looked lately, I just did a search real quick. The 3 sites we're talking about today, Quora, Medium, and SlideShare, they all have, and this is a little techno geek stuff, they all have no follow links. But the key with Quora or any of the others is you publish answers to questions, and you should be strategic in what you answer. Don't answer every single one. Answer. I like to answer where other people haven't, or other people have who are those C-level type people that Mark was talking about, if they've answered the question, and you could add on to, or you could even take an opposing position, and that there could be a really robust asynchronous discussion. It's not like a phone conversation, but you'll reply, you'll make a comment, somebody else will make a comment, you'll make a comment, and it can be interesting. I lost my train of thought. I was going to go somewhere with that, but you can use it to actually answer questions in a way that, if you do it the right way, you can get direct traffic back to your own website or any website of your choosing, because they allow you to put links in your bio. They allow you to put links in the answer as well. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And my results, I haven't been really studious about it, but last time I looked, so a couple years ago, like in 2015, middle of 2015, I believe, I went on like a 30-day sprint where I answered, I think I answered a question a day. I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but I think I wound up with, I want to say something silly like 90,000 views to my answers. It was a big number. Now,
Nice.
not all 90,000 of the people who looked at my answers went to my website, but a number of them did. And I'm not going to tell you that number because, again, I wasn't really being studious about this, but I do know that I got some direct traffic as a result of it. And I got a lot of people, kind of, influential people, upvoted my answers. So I know that people were paying attention. So go ahead, Mark, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was. Here's okay. So we started this by saying and Bill, I'm hearing me coming through your speakers, so I'm getting kind of like a little bit of an echo. We talked about publishing your answers, but I want to talk about a couple kind of ways that once you are on Quora, how you can leverage it. So for example, you could literally say, hey, I'm an authority on, insert topic. So for example, for me, I'm an authority on press releases, and you can tell you're not just like, you're just not making that claim. You say, hey, I've answered X number of answers about press releases or whatever the case may be. So, in your bio and in, how you promote yourself, how you, the self-promotion materials you can use that Quora profile just like you do LinkedIn. It's like LinkedIn, I have X number of recommendations. Well, why can't you do the same thing with Quora? The other thing, and this is just an SEO tip, which I use a website called Brand Yourself, which it allows, it's brandyourself.com, and its reputation, and it actually tracks my Quora profile. And one of the tips I learned is, go in, I'd say, don't make a big deal out of it. Go in like once a month and just tweak your profile, change it up a little bit just so the search engines see it as fresh content. So that's the second tip. And the third tip, and I may have lost my train of thought. Hold on just a second.
It's one of those days.
Yeah, well, it's the holidays, and like I said, people's attention is distracted. So the third tip is, once you have your profile, once you have some questions, now put this in context, because think about it. How long is it going to take you to do a blog post? You got to find the image, you got to write the copy, you got to upload it. How long? I mean, this, you could be answering questions in probably as little or maybe the same amount of time as it is for you to comment on somebody's thread on Facebook. So what's going to work more, more powerfully for you, answering a question on Quora, which is projecting you as an authority, or commenting on somebody's pet video? I rest my case.
Yeah, Absolutely. It takes effort to do this right. Just like it takes effort to do a blog post right or any kind of content. And this really is content. It's content that you're using or placing upon somebody else's platform. And there's always a caveat to that, right? Your content could disappear tomorrow if the company goes belly up. Then if you've invested a lot of time, maybe you've got a lot of content out there, and now it's gone. So there's that caveat, and that's a risk. I mean,
Mhm.
websites come and go all the time. Online companies come and go all the time. What was that video thing a while back? Blab or whatever.
Blab,
It's gone.
blab.
A
Yeah.
lot of people invested a lot of time and equipment and stuff into that. Well, the good news
And,
is you were able to leverage that, at least the equipment into some other platform like Facebook or Snapchat or whatever. But your content's gone if you weren't keeping backups. And I encourage you to, like, everything you answer, keep a copy of the question, keep a copy of your answer. It's just wise because you can, once that website's gone, if it ever does go away, you can certainly use that content somewhere else. What are they going to do? Sue you? They don't exist anymore. Um,
well, here's a quick thought, and I hadn't thought of this, Bill, but it made me think about this when with what you just shared. You have a living laboratory for FAQs around your topic with Quora. You don't have to seek people out and say, or make things up where you think maybe these are the most frequently asked questions, because guess what? They'll be asking them of you. So why not track them? And yeah, you could repurpose them into a product or, add it to a service or your website. So yes, so Quora. So are we ready to move on to number two, Medium?
yeah. So I wanted to give a few stats on the three websites that we're going to talk about. And
Okay.
I did a little search on Alexa.com, which essentially ranks websites in terms of traffic. So the lower your number, the better. A number one means you get the most traffic of any website in the world or in the United States, whatever country you're looking at. In theory, I mean, they're only as good as their data. But essentially, Quora globally is ranked number 110 out of the 7 bazillion websites out there. They're ranked at number 110. That's really high. That's good. A lot of eyeballs are on that site. In the United States, they're ranked 59.
Wow.
50% of their traffic comes from search. So think about that. If you want to become known for a given topic and you've done your keyword research and you answer questions that around your keywords, you could get a lot of eyeballs on your content. Medium, they're ranked 375 globally and 210 in the US. And this is interesting. SlideShare is ranked 151 globally and 102nd in the US. They also get 50% of their traffic from search, which to me was surprising. Medium only gets 21% of its traffic from search. So let's move on to Medium.
Okay.
Tell us what you know about Medium, and then I'll tell you what my experience has been as well.
Okay. Well, I will say as a disclaimer, I probably, of the three platforms, I know the least about Medium. I haven't published on Medium. It's in the to-do list, but I have done a fair amount of due diligence and research. So here's what I've found. Medium is, in some ways, if you don't have a blog, or even if you do have a blog, it's an alternative blogging platform. I think when they first started, it was almost more of like an online magazine format. And they have done a lot in terms of optimizing the platform for search. And I've seen probably more case studies and success stories on somebody publishing on, a virtual nobody publishing on Medium and then it going viral and them getting like 10,000 visitors in the matter of a day.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons that was kind of my kick in the butt to to get going on Medium, is I bought a content syndication tool. And guess what? One of the platforms that they syndicate to is Medium. So I could publish my content on my site and it'll show up on Medium. So it's not like I'm doing a whole lot of extra work. In fact, I'm getting more bang for my buck. So that's probably a good stopping point, Bill. But I'd love to hear, because I think you have kind of explored it, more than I have, and I'd love to hear your results.
Yeah, Medium is a really cool platform. It's very writing content, adding content is super super easy. Um, it's not question and answer based, although you can approach it that way. Nobody's going to ask you a question. You're just there to write, to provide content. But you could certainly, write your content in the form of an answer to a question. A lot of accomplished authors, such as like James Altucher, they publish on Medium. I have a lot of friends in the publishing business who publish on Medium, and they get, the bigger the name, the more play you're going to get on Medium. That kind of goes without saying, but if as an online publisher who maybe isn't in that, in that upper echelon in terms of popularity or name recognition, if you get the attention of some of these people, they can certainly vault you towards the top. I haven't, had that experience yet, but I've seen it happen to others, which I think is pretty cool. Now I haven't spent a lot of time on Medium. I think I've published maybe 10 articles there, but everyone gets a fair amount of engagement, likes and comments and shares and things like that. So it's a really good platform, especially if you're more of the, I want to say, the creative type.
Mhm.
It's better than a Quora, because you got to pick the tool that suits your style, your objective. What do you want to accomplish? But it's super super easy, and the posts look pretty darn good when you're done. So I like Medium, and I want to, in my efforts as a writer, I want to use it more this year. Do you want to move on to SlideShare?
Yeah, just a quick note for everybody viewing. We're in the last few top shows that we've done, we've put together kind of a follow-up list. So what we're going to do is we'll give you links, to all these platforms. We'll also give you some good articles to review to get up to speed a lot faster
Yeah.
on each one of these, as well as kind of some do's and some don'ts. So I know when I started getting into this, it really helped me. So just wanted to make sure that there are going to be parting gifts. We'll assemble that and upload it to this thread probably later today.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, moving on to SlideShare. SlideShare has been around for a while, and I actually started using it as a research tool. Like if I was researching a particular topic, I would see what was on SlideShare, and if I found a presentation, then I would download it, and it kind of just, because here's the thing, a lot of times what people put in presentations is very different from content that they put on their website or in their collateral. And it's not like, oh, this is for internal eyes only, but it really, I found that in certain presentations, the cream, kind of rises to the top. And if you have a website that has like 50 pages or a brochure that has 20 pages and you get a presentation that has 15 to 20 slides, you've got, again, from a research perspective, a company's, best take on what are the most important things to say. Now that isn't publishing, but I think it's helpful before you publish on SlideShare to see what other people are publishing. And here's a big tip in how they're publishing it. I will tell you one thing: to protect your intellectual property, I've seen people actually just upload, a presentation in PowerPoint or in Keynote. I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, you can let people download it. You want them to download it, but make sure they can only download it as a PDF. That way they can't literally pirate your content, and all those charts and graphs or whatever you have in your presentation don't show up somewhere else, because somebody just found them on SlideShare. The other tip, and I'll keep this short and then turn it back to you, Bill, is it's a much more corporate environment. I mean, you know how we all think of LinkedIn as more of a business-oriented medium? I would say it's the same thing for SlideShare. You've got businesses there, so the audience is there. And let's talk. Oh, actually, one more thing. Just like Medium has this viral component, well, SlideShare picks presentation of the day. So, if you get presentation of the day, think about this. You're on a site that is, what did you say, Bill? One of the, is like the top, within the top 120 websites of the entire web.
151.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so those are some initial thoughts on SlideShare. I'll hand it over to you for your insights.
Yeah. So I run a local meetup every month. And up until about last year, or the end of last year, essentially what I had done was, for every meetup I had a PowerPoint presentation, and I would upload that to SlideShare every month. And you get hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of views on those things every month. And this was for a local meetup. And yeah, I do allow people to download, the presentation. One thing I did do is, on every slide in the footer, I put a link back to my website and my company name. So it kind of, is watermarked. I mean, anybody can always rip you off. But most people won't take the time, to rip you off and like try to rip out your company name. So, I mean, I guess some people do, but for the most part, I wasn't concerned with the intellectual property part. I wanted people just to be exposed to the information and know that it was mine. But the bottom line for me was, I was getting, I got several thousand views out of a few PowerPoint presentations over the last few years, and that was good. Isn't SlideShare owned by LinkedIn, or do I have?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't start out that way, but they were acquired by LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, when you publish on SlideShare, if I remember correctly, you actually can publish the same content to LinkedIn. I want to say Twitter, Facebook. They also give you embed codes so that you can put it on your own site and that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like some of those other sites, you can follow, certain companies, or individuals that publish regular content, and that's another way of getting traffic, is by building your following.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of this really is to build your audience, and you're doing it using platforms that are established, have major players, and have big audiences. And because the two out of the three that we talked about, Quora and SlideShare, they get 50% of their traffic through search. So somebody's looking for how to do something, or some information about X, Y, or Z. They type that in Google, which, by the way, has an Alexa score of 1. They type it in Google, and odds are they're gonna one of the top results is going to be either Quora or SlideShare. Do a search and you'll see. And there's a good chance that if you're optimizing, if you're creating content around those topics, your content's going to get seen. And if you have, what I do is, I always make sure that I put a link back to my website in my profile on all of these sites, as well as I put a link to an article I've written in my website. I put a link back to one of those in my posts on either Quora, Medium, or SlideShare. So that way I've got a chance of getting some direct traffic from these places, and a little bit here, a little bit there, it all adds up to something that can be quite big, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, just to kind of wrap up, the reason we mentioned these three is there are different types of platform and different types of content you're publishing. So just to recap, Quora, it's short form content. I mean, you can make it longer, but I mean, the answers can be as little as a few sentences. Medium is, I mean, you could go on, you could do a 2,000 word pillar post, which is what I call, a really authoritative blog post. You don't have to go that long, but it's a format that is very visual, and people read those posts. I've read posts like that on Medium, and then finally, SlideShare. Obviously, slides are a different format, but it also gives you different, because people respond to content different ways, and so you're giving them different ways to consume it. Which is something that kind of fits into your overall publishing strategy, and that's why we wanted to bring it to you today.
Yeah. So a couple things. Noah Kagan, who is the founder of AppSumo, that both Mark and I have mentioned before, and we love that company. We love their products. It's quality stuff. But Noah, he's had a lot of success in business. He started out as employee number 30 at Facebook. And he recollects that he probably lost, millions of dollars because he didn't stick well, I don't know if he didn't stick around or if they made him go away, before they IPO'd. But then he went to Mint, where he was I think the number 4 guy or something like that. And then he started AppSumo, and he's got, a list, an audience, a verifiable audience of like 800,000 people. He writes on Quora all the time, and he doesn't just answer questions. He like goes into a full blown mini dissertation on things, and it's really freaking cool. The other thing with SlideShare, I like to repurpose my content and reuse it and leverage it in all sorts of places. So if I put together a presentation, I'll throw it up on SlideShare, I'll embed it on my website, and then I'm a minimalist when it comes to presentations. I don't put a whole bunch of junk on a slide. I put 2 or 3 bullet points, very short, very concise. And what I do is I will take a bullet point with a link back to wherever I want to drive traffic to, but I will put that out on Twitter. I'll make a tweet with each bullet point, driving back to either most often my site, with that embedded PowerPoint in there. So if people want to see the whole thing, they can. But it just, Twitter's one of those things that you have to constantly feed. So that's just one of my tips. Anything else, Mark?
No, I think that's it. Shout out to Judy, who is kind of like fact checking us in real time.
Yeah.
She mentioned, I think you said that she's confirmed that he said he was fired from Facebook.
Yeah.
So we know Judy. We're in several Facebook groups together. So good to see a familiar face. And yeah, I'm ready to wrap up and get the holiday weekend started early, because I'm 2 hours later than you. I'm ready.
Yeah, and my family's at the county fair right now, so as soon as we wrap up here, I'm
You're fair bound
over. And they have these, like, I'm not kidding, corn dogs like this big, and the kids always buy them every year. And it's like this year I told their mom, my wife, I said, don't buy those, because they're this big, and they eat like this much. So they throw away like 12 inches of hot dog, and it's just so wasteful. But it's cooled down here. It's not 113 like it was last week. It's more like 70 something.
Nice.
Really nice. So I'm gonna go do that. I might drink a beer or something. I'm sure I'll have a funnel cake. So
Well, have a great time. And again, here's to a happy, healthy holiday weekend. And we'll catch you next week.
All right. Thanks. See you guys
See
later.
ya. Bye bye.
Bye.